Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and welcome to Rider Potential. This is the series where I look at seasons of Kamen Rider and look at how they could be adapted for a larger audience on the same scale as recent Power Rangers seasons under Hasbro. Please remember that this series is all done in the spirit of fun and love for Kamen Rider. I don't expect Kamen Rider to get adapted for many years, and it really shouldn't until Hasbro finds their footing with Power Rangers. I'm just sharing my ideas on the different seasons, and I want to hear your guys' ideas as well. But I still want to try and be as realistic as possible with everything, so because of this I made a short little basics video that will go over some finer details that applies to all of the videos in this series. Go watch that first if you're new here, and then you can come right back and watch this video. Today I'm taking a look at Kamen Rider Double, the story of two detectives who become one single Kamen Rider and fight the monsters that threaten their beloved city. However, before I can begin, please be sure to go check out my review of Kamen Rider Double just so you can hear my thoughts on everything. It's not necessary to watch like the basics video, but I think it's a fun watch and then also gives some background to how I feel about Kamen Rider Double. Alright, now with the generic plugs out of the way, it's time to Cyclone Joker into Rider Potential Double. I have to say, Kamen Rider Double's aesthetics are amazing. The suits are so simple upon first glance. A simple half and half design with two distinct colors that can be changed and swapped out to make new forms depending on the used colors. But then when you take a closer look, there are so many great little details to notice. There are little W aspects in the antenna, driver, and lines across the chest. Those lines also add to the amazing detail of this suit. Every double half body has a distinct pattern that carries throughout and gives them their all unique personality without feeling too overdone. This also really gets amplified with Cyclone Joker Extreme that changes all these lines into X's to reflect the extreme nature of it. There's also all of these other little edges on parts that would normally be blank on other rider suits, and it creates this awesome effect. Axel's suits revert to a more symmetrical motif because of the single guy memory, and it's a shift in design that makes a lot of sense given the context of the forms and the show. But even then, the suit has a lot of nice little details in it, such as the motorcycle parts and more little etches. Axel's Trial also has a motorcycle helmet. That's not really important, but I wanted to let you know it's there, and it actually kind of applies to how the form was gained in Double. The great thing about the Double aesthetic for an adaptation is this combination of simplicity and complexity in every form. The simple aspects would make it appealing to children and really just everyone in general, but those nice little complex details may make older fans stick around as well and keep enjoying the nicely detailed designs. There's nothing too crazy with any suit in this entire season, and it contrasts very well with the Dopants where there is crazy stuff going on, and overall means there's a lot of diversity in the battles, and also makes them very nice to look at. There's not a lot of craziness, everything is just clean cut and simple. Because of this, I think that this makes Double's aesthetics a great reason to adapt it. So looking at Double as a season, it's at this period of time where the age of the season shows in the source footage. It doesn't exactly have the crispness that modern day footage has, and the CG looks pretty dated as well. There's obviously a bit of uncertainty as to whether or not these older seasons could be adapted because of these changes, and if they are, they'd probably just have all original footage and costumes. But when you look at Power Rangers Beast Morphers, that's a similar case where a lot of the suits were completely degraded and had to be remade, along with new reshot footage because Go Busters was over 5 years old. However, we still kept the same monster suits and similar plot beats with characters to fit in with the little Japanese footage that we did use. Now, granted, the Go Busters footage is probably more usable than Double's, but the point I'm trying to make is that even if the footage is older and may not get used, the whole show can still follow a similar plot. It is an adaptation after all. So now to actually begin, I'm not changing Phillips and Shotaro's dynamic, not at all. I'm saying it right now. I love the way that Double Rider system works too much to change it in my theoretical adaptation, and I don't think Hasbro would either. It's too much of a standout transformation that could totally distance this adaptation franchise from Power Rangers or other similar American media or even tokusatsu media. That's usually the thing I see people say they would change the most, change to one singular user of the system, and that's totally fine. But for me, I'm not doing it. If you want to know more about how much I love this concept, go watch the Double review. Instead, I'm focusing on the season's villains. As I've said before, I think that the Sonozaki family was alright in the original season, but it became disjointed over time, and then kazoo! So that's my main focus today. I think that the basic plot with them works as is, with their distribution of Gaia memories throughout the city in order to gain information for the Gaia impact, but I'm changing the circumstances around this dynamic just a little bit. The family is going to be introduced to us as the head of Futo's local technology company, like Logitech or Microsoft, but on a much smaller scale, and they sell various products as technology companies do, and then at some point they just had a surplus of USB drives being sold, but no one batted an eye. It just seemed like some new technology they were trying to push. The reason for this, and much more, would be explained throughout the season as part of an ongoing mystery for our main characters to discover, because detective show. I'm just going to give you guys the whole thing chronologically, so it's less confusing to explain and understand. At some point before the season, the Sonozaki family was a normal family. Yes, they had an up and bustling tech company, but they were all still very close and didn't let any of it go to their heads. But then one day, their youngest son, Raito, vanished. They don't know what happened to him or where he went, and they start putting signs up and others start helping to search, but they can't ever find him. They're a rich company, so they start traveling the world searching far and wide for their lost child until they happen across a book in some rich library. I like to imagine it's the same library where Sir Edmund Burton yelled at Agent Simmons over a final boss for a dead cinematic universe, but it doesn't really matter. In the book, they find out about a phenomenon called the Gaia impact. When the energy of the world, Gaia energy, becomes harnessed into one being, the laws of nature begin to break down, and anything the user can wish for becomes possible, even the ability to bring back the dead. At this point, you can imagine that the Sonozakis are pretty desperate, and they'll take up this very old book on its very enticing offer. They do more research and find out Gaia energy rituals in the ancient past didn't use the raw energy, as its dangerous tendencies could make entire civilizations collapse into insanity, and was usually instead concentrated into capsules and was refined for usage. The Sonozakis also discover how Gaia energy is usually found in very concentrated locations, with the most concentrated happening to be in, Futo, which is why the family moves their company there and begins harvesting Gaia energy. They run some tests and discover that their own USB drive technology are perfect capsules to refine the Gaia energy. An undetectable amount of energy gets inserted into a USB, and when there is a strong emotional reaction near it, the energy reacts and creates a Gaia memory based on the subject of the reaction and in the shape of its original vessel, which is why the Gaia memories in the season are all based on various things and have the USB look. The hero Gaia memories would be purified versions when the Gaia energy reacts in an overly positive way to Philip and Shotaro. This would all be pre-season backstory that's revealed throughout the first 20 or so episodes, with our detectives trying to find out what's going on with their city and the Dopants. Our villains would also reveal this to the audience in small snippets, and it'll be a great way to see how this has affected the family. Ryube will be obsessed over the entire process to bring back their son. Saiko is becoming corrupted over her family's riches and overexposure to raw Gaia energy, and Wakana is more in the middle, as she's also trying her hardest to bring back her brother, but is also being corrupted by the Gaia energy as well. The mother leaves as she doesn't approve of the methods to bring back their son, but sadly my version doesn't have as much of an impact as Shroud does. When the detectives finally crack the case and go after the Sonozakis to stop them, they see a bit of a consequence of being double, as the family has finally gathered enough data on the Gaia energy. Not enough data to revive Raito, but enough to create their own advanced Gaia memories and become the boss level Dopants, defeating Double, and also erasing any evidence of their Gaia memory conspiracy. So I may have just lied, we actually don't know exactly why the Sonozakis are harvesting Gaia energy at this moment, but it becomes slowly discovered by Double as he realizes that the only way to defeat them is brute force. The family already has control of the media, and they can't be exposed in a natural way. It would also be interesting if we had this build up to revealing that Philip is Raito, like in Japan. So when the family is ready to perform the Gaia impact at the end of the show, we have a lot of dynamics going on. The Sonozaki family has been set up to have this tragic story. They didn't set out to be evil, but they are doing what they must just to reunite their family. Double believes that they don't actually need to perform the impact as their son is right there. as Double's right half. However, the impact would also kill everyone who used Gaia energy or had exposure to it at some point, which of course includes our main riders and most of the city, so there's a bit of selfishness there, which is what the Sonozakis accused Double of. There would probably be some way that they themselves would be safe from the explosions. Double alters the process of the Gaia impact so that they think it won't kill anyone, and it's true, it doesn't actually kill anyone. But the process was altered enough that we get the reveal that Raito was just a completely different person from Philip, and really did die at some point as the impact actually revives him. The alterations to the process though supercharged the revived Raito with Gaia energy, and completely corrupted him, giving him an evil agenda to turn the entire world into dopants under his control. One of the first things he sees is Double, so he copies the Double driver in his own image and constructs his own purified Gaia memories, one for himself and one to send into each of the Sonozaki family members there, turning them into his own puppets. Since Double is a hero that looks out for any member of the city, the final episodes of the season will focus on Double appealing to the humanity of the puppet Sonozakis, bringing them back to the light, and then doing the same to Eternal after defeating him in the final battle. I imagine this whole finale to be about 5 episodes, pretty much a 5-episode part finale story. Eternal is really here only because I think it would provide a fun twist, and I really like starting a trope of incorporating movie villains into the show in some way in these videos. If we don't want to bring in Eternal, then we can drag everything out just a little bit more and have the removal of the Gaia impact be the finale of the season, and kind of have a bit of ambiguity of whether or not Raito and Philip are really the same person. I just like bringing in the movie writers and giving the Gaia impact some actual consequences, but let me know which ending you like better. Now it's time for the mummy! I've been waiting to make this joke the entire video. Starting with the figures. This is a bit rough. We have Base Double in his other base forms, Base Axel, Fang Joker, the final forms, and Joker because it was in one episode of the season and that's kind of the thing I have to adhere to. Then we've also got 4 figures at a 12-inch scale for the main forms, and that's it. I'll get more into this later. For now, let's move on to roleplay. We've got 3 drivers at $50. Remember that we're including the Joker stuff because it did appear in one episode and has also got some movie stuff that could be used in the season, but its appearance in the show is why it's here instead of the Eternal stuff. This is all in the basics. Why am I explaining it again? I've thrown in the Prism Bicker as a $30 weapon since, as I've said in the past, it's a chunky boy. And then the other 3 weapons as well. I know what I said about including everything from the show, but Shroud's weapon is on screen for a literal 5 seconds. Would they even use this in the show? Probably not. I'm not including it. Gimmicks. The normal Gaia memories would be at $10 because of their electronics and smaller scale, along with Trial. In the $15 section, there's the upgrade memories, Fang and Extreme, along with our 6 Lil Gadget bots. I know they're not really gimmicks, but I also don't feel that they fall into the $20 price point because of the roleplay section, and they're also in a decent chunk of the show, so they're here to add to the $20 price point. Double's final guesstimate sales are only $365, the lowest number we've ever had on any potential episode ever. It's about 30% of the total sales I calculated for Build last episode, and it's pretty much because of one main factor. Build is pretty much the peak of the snowball effect started by Double in 2009, with more forms, gimmicks, and weapons than previous seasons, or at the very least serializing these tropes into the franchise. Double has significantly less amounts of everything due to being the beginning of these new tropes, and it's why the value is so low. But I feel there's multiple ways to remedy that. Working backwards, for gimmicks you can release all the Monster Guy memories and even some T2 memories just for toy exclusivity, and even Legend Rider memories depending on when the season would be adapted. For weapons, you could just do repaints or maybe even some American exclusive weapons that go with the right side halves and other weaponless forms. That is something I would really be interested in. And lastly, for figures, the current model in Japan could be used. We can get main rider forms in a higher quality with more articulation, and in a separate line that makes use of gimmicks but still scales with the other figures. So assuming the figures I already covered were the gimmick figures, doing this would increase the sales to about $900, which is obviously much closer to Build's amount. Now, of course, this took a lot of guesswork, and I'm not including this number specifically in later episodes, but it still goes to show that there's a lot of potential beyond what I just show here in the money segment of Rider Potential. Kamen Rider Double could be a really interesting season of Kamen Rider to adapt. Since it has arguably the most unique henshin pattern in the entire franchise, it could really distinguish Kamen Rider from other Ameritoku and make it just a great show to watch, just like it was in Japan. Its pretty standard story structure in Japan will also make it a pretty simple story to carry over, but still one that has many opportunities to change things for the better and make a successful adaptation. And lastly, though the possible sales may be lacking compared to other seasons, there's still a lot of room to make Toei exclusive items or expand on minimal release items from Japan. But even then, the already existing items to sell have Double's amazingly simple aesthetics that make it very pleasing to watch on screen, but also make it very fun to pose around in hard plastic. I would love to see Kamen Rider Double get adapted because there's just so much that can be done with it in every single aspect, but also because I really liked the season and wouldn't mind seeing what Hasbro could do with it. Would you like to see Double get adapted? What are some of your ideas with adapting the season, or what do you think of my ideas? You can let me know all of that down below in the comment section along with your thoughts on any of the other topics in this video. For those of you wondering what's next for Rider Potential, I want to try and keep things balanced between pre-decade Heisei seasons and post-decade seasons. Seasons will be 4 episodes inherited from Sentai Potential and be 1/2 post-decade, 1/2 pre-decade. The original poll put Build and Double as the first 2 episodes of Rider Potential and also the first 2 episodes for post-decade, with Kuga and Deno being the first 2 pre-decade riders on the list. So I guess now I'm off to watch Kamen Rider Kuga, where the Heisei era all began. If you want to be the first to know about that video when it or other Rider Potential episodes come out, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching.